All right, today we are diving into a fantastic book, The Heart of Change by John Kotter and Dan Cohen. We're going to try and figure out why so many big, really important changes in organizations just, well, they fizzle out, right? We're going to explore this simple, but honestly super powerful idea that the real engine of change, it isn't logic, it's emotion.
I mean, have you ever seen this happen? A great idea for change just dies on the vine? You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's this brilliant plan, a super clear strategy, the most logical next step for your company. It gets announced, and then crickets, nothing. It is so frustrating, and it happens pretty much everywhere.
So, what gives? Why does this keep happening over and over again? Well, a lot of the time, it starts with the way we usually try to make change happen. You know, that traditional approach that's all about data and logic, trying to win people over with facts and figures.
This is what the book calls the analysis, think, change model. And the idea is pretty straightforward, right? We gather all the data, we make the fancy charts, we build this absolutely bulletproof business case. The assumption is, if we give this super smart, analytical presentation, people will go, aha! They'll think differently, and that new thinking will just automatically lead to new behavior. Simple.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It almost never works. Why not? Because that super logical approach, it runs headfirst into this giant wall of human feelings. You've got complacency, right? Things are fine as they are. You've got fear of the unknown. And you've definitely got anger from people who feel like this change is just being shoved down their throats. And let me tell you, no spreadsheet on earth, no matter how perfect it is, can fight its way through those feelings.
And this is what brings us to the absolute core insight of the heart of change. It's this powerful alternative to that old, flawed model. It's a total shift in focus, away from the head and straight to the heart. This one sentence, it basically captures the entire book. It says, people change what they do less because they are given analysis that shifts their thinking than because they are shown a truth that influences their feelings. So the key to changing what people do isn't about winning some logical debate. No, it's about creating a powerful feeling. It's about helping people see a truth so clearly that it makes them feel the need to change.
Okay, so this is where you can really see the difference. On one hand, you've got that old model, right? The analysis, think, change. It's all about logic, reports, memos. But on the other hand, you have see, feel change, which is completely driven by emotion. This new way uses things like compelling stories, visuals, real experiences, things that create a gut-level response. And that is what provides the real energy you need to make big changes happen.
Now, this see-feel-change idea, it's the engine that powers Kotter's famous 8-step process for change. And it's really important to think of these steps not just as some boring checklist, but more like a journey. A journey where creating the right feelings at every single stage is what actually pushes you forward.
So, the journey kicks off with step 1, increase urgency. You got to make people feel like we need to do something now. Then, you build a guiding team. Not just smart people, but an emotionally committed group. Step 3, get the vision right. 4 is communicate for buy-in, but in a way that gets that real gut-level agreement. Then you empower action and, super important, create short-term wins. These early stages are all about building that initial fire.
And once you've got that fire going, the last 2 steps are all about keeping it from burning out. Step 7 is don't let up. You can't just get a couple of wins and declare victory. And finally, step 8, make change stick. This is where you work to anchor those new behaviors deep down in the company's culture, so they become the new normal. That's how you make it last.
What's so cool about this is that the goal of every single step is to create a real, visible shift in how people behave. You can see it right here. You're not just doing a task like increase urgency. You're looking for an outcome where people literally start telling each other, come on, let's go. Each step is designed to build on the last one, creating this wave of momentum that carries the change forward.
Okay, so theory is great, but let's get to the fun part. We're going to look at a couple of real-life stories from the book that show this see-feel-change thing in action. This is where it all clicks and becomes real.
So, picture this. There's a manager, and he knows his company is wasting a crazy amount of money. We're talking $1 billion on just buying stuff inefficiently. But the senior leaders, they just don't see it. It's like an invisible problem. So the question is, how do you make them see it? How do you make them feel it?
Well, he didn't write a report. Instead, he decided to investigate just one tiny item, work gloves. And what he found was just astounding. The company was buying 424 different kinds of work gloves. 424! And not only that, they were paying wildly different prices for the exact same glove. Like $5 at one factory and $17 at another. It was nuts. So what did he do? He didn't write a memo. Nope. He collected a sample of all 424 of those gloves, tagged every single one with its price, and piled them high on the boardroom table. Can you imagine? The executives walk in, and they just stop. They're stunned. They're looking at this physical, visual mountain of waste. And that created a gut feeling, shock, maybe a little embarrassment, that a 20-page report could never, ever do. They saw the problem. They felt the urgency. And they immediately authorized the change. That's see, feel, change.
Okay, here's another story. And this is a classic. I bet you've seen something like this before. The company's leadership is going on and on about being a low-cost producer, about cutting costs, being lean. But the executive floor, it's decked out, super lavish. And that kind of hypocrisy just kills any chance of change because it creates so much cynicism. Nobody believes a word they're saying.
And what was management's excuse? Well, it was perfectly logical. Oh, it would cost more money to change the decor now, and we're trying to save money. See? That is a classic analysis think response. It's logical, but it completely misses the point. The problem wasn't about the budget, it was an emotional one. It was about credibility, and it was about trust.
So what did they do to fix it? They nuked the executive floor. I'm serious. They tore down all those fancy, opulent offices and replaced them with something much more modest. That dramatic action was such a powerful visual. It screamed, "We are serious about this." And that single deed restored faith and made the vision believable, like overnight. Pure see-feel change.
So when you hear stories like that, what's the big takeaway? It's a direct challenge to the way we usually think about leading change. It's not about what you can prove with a spreadsheet. It's about what you can show people.
Look, it really all boils down to this. Change is about emotion, not just logic. If you want to drive real change, you have to get beyond just telling people what to do. You have to show them. You have to create these vivid, tangible experiences that hit them on an emotional level. Because that powerful feeling, that is the real engine of change.
So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Forget about the next PowerPoint presentation you have to build. Instead, think about this. To create real, meaningful change, what's a simple but powerful truth that you could actually show your team tomorrow?